Hi everybody, and welcome back to Rebellious Menstruation. This is just going to be a quick video on toxic shock syndrome. It seems to be a big thing that is raised when people go from disposable single-use products to reusable products. I've got some samples. You may have seen these samples in some of my other videos. So these here are U by Kotex. I didn't particularly use U by Kotex. These are in this packaging. These are regular sport tampons. Period or not, she can. That's the tagline. And it comes not only in this packaging, but it comes with this warning. So it folds out to this toxic shock warning, which are they all required to put in place in Australia by the Therapeutic Goods Administration, otherwise known as TGA. Essentially, TSS is an extremely rare infection that is treatable. It's life-threatening, but it's treatable when caught in time. It's associated with internal menstrual protection, specifically heavy absorbency tampons, and also with a lack of hygiene when you have your period. So it is associated not only with tampons such as this, but it can also be associated with menstrual cups, and it can also be associated with any type of internal protection that you use, like sea sponges, anything. So this is a Libra gift sample pack that they sent out. Okay, so it's not associated with external protection. However, one important thing to note is that while it is associated with menstruation and with tampons, it is also associated with any type of skin penetrating items, such as needles. So there are certain statistics out there. These are for the US and not for Australia, so I'm not really going to highlight it that much, but it was associated that out of the cases that came out about in 2016, which I think were about 60, half of them were men and children. The other half were women. So while it's a high ratio of women getting TSS, and it was associated with tampon use, the other 50%, so it means 30 were women and 30 were men and children, which obviously weren't menstruation related. So, however, there's only been 2 reported cases associated with menstrual cups, and these were kind of, I would say that they were incorrect reports, because one was associated with another woman who already had pre-existing menstrual hygiene or menstrual matters. She had exceptionally heavy periods and had had issues before, no matter what product that she used. And the second one was where a woman had left her tampon in for 7 days, and therefore got or her cup in for 7 days, and therefore suffered toxic shock syndrome. So just to again reiterate, what takes away from TSS is hygiene, is proper and adequate hygiene. If you are washing your hands, if you are participating really in basic hygiene, and I'd also like to have a side note, this is from a very privileged position as well, in the sense that I have access to water and hygienic bathrooms, and I live, in a house. So we all know about period poverty and about people who don't have clean access to water. I will deal with those issues in a different video, but at the moment I'm just going to kind of deal with a standard person who has access to, well, not a standard person, I'm just going to deal with people who have access to adequate hygiene. This is for somebody to leave a cup in for 7 days and get TSS. It would be the same as somebody leaving their tampon in for 7 days. Neither of these 2 things would be at fault. it would be the person who was not practicing hygienic purposes. And therefore this happens when surgeons leave stuff inside the body as well. You know, you shouldn't be leaving, you know, this type of cotton balls or sponges and anything like that inside your body for extended periods of time. That's why, you know, these types of warnings, this warning is put on here, will put in place to remind people that do not leave it in longer than 4 hours. So this is applicator tampons, which I've never used, but it has on this outside TSS label. And it comes with a little booklet which we'll open and look at the moment. TSS is caused by, I'm probably going to say this wrong, Staphylococcus aureus, otherwise known as staph, and Staphylococcus pyogenes, otherwise known as strep. So both of these things are both known to be, they exist in your body. I think people fail to realise that a lot of things exist within your body, and it's when they get out of control does it become a problem. Cancer exists in your body, meningococcal exists in your body, and the things that cause TSS exist in your body too. It's when you are not practicing safe procedures and hygienic procedures, even as simple as washing your hands with soap, do you actually get, you know, issues arising. So these are just applicator tampons. I have never used these. I'm not actually sure if I really want to open these at the moment. I can probably, because all of these are still in packaging, I can probably just give these to a friend. Although I feel a bit weird about that. I feel it's a bit irresponsible to be giving poisonous items away to friends. Okay, so staph and strep, which both occur naturally on the skin and in the nose. So that's the two things that cause TSS. The issue becomes when it actually leaves your skin and your the mucus in your nasal passages and enters your skin, enters the bloodstream. So tampons cause this. So these type of tampons that we're looking at cause this by when they're left in for over the recommended amount of time, which is 4 to 6 hours, and this encourages this bacteria to grow. It is particularly associated with heavy absorbency, heavy absorbency. These look like small like minis, and these are regular sports. And so it's when tampons are left in over 6 hours and with a heavy absorbency rating that they are more associated with causing TSS. It's also associated with the fluff and the effluma from a tampon sticking to the walls of the vagina, particularly when flow is light. It can cause abrasions when removed or placed in to your vaginal wall. So they do recommend that you use a tampon associated with your flow. So if you're very, very light, they say either use a light tampon or don't use a tampon at all and just use a pad. So applicator tampons, which are these, can also scrape the walls of the vagina, as most of these are made with plastic. The problem is that the plastic can also scrape the walls, causing more damage and allowing more bacteria to enter. So applicator tampons actually are worse for causing TSS than just, I think they're called digital tampons, that most of what these are referred to as are called digital tampons, because, you know, obviously you're using the digits on your hand to put them in. So obviously the other thing is organic tampons are no better or worse for you in TSS, in related to TSS, than these types of tampons. So, and as I already mentioned, menstrual cups and sea sponges, which I don't have any sea sponges, are both, they're all equally as considered, they're all considered to be equally as contributing to TSS or the risk of TSS as each other. So don't mistake a menstrual cup, traditional tampons, organic tampons and sea sponges as being any more or less of a risk. Obviously I've mentioned before that the recommended times for doing all this is practice hygiene, washing your hands before and after application of any of these products. Do not use longer than 4 to 6 hours, preferably less than 4 hours, and do not use overnight. So, and I think the recommendation for using overnight would be because you're not waking up every 3 to 4 hours to change it. Use the appropriate absorbency for your period. So for light days, use light. For moderate days, use moderate. For heavies, use heavy. And if you are light enough not to require a tampon, use a pad or a liner. So as I mentioned before, organic tampons are no better for your body and contribute the same amount of waste to the environment as traditional products. Also, if you flush any of these down the toilet, it is just as bad, whether they're organic or regular, or popular branding like Kotex and Libra. Whether they are Kotex or Libra, or Carefree or Tampax or whatever brand that you use. And these cause a massive amount of damage to the sewage system. In Australia, I am not sure about overseas. In Australia, we are kind of lucky that we get menstrual hygiene bins in our bathrooms and in public bathrooms and in offices. Is that when you go to a bathroom, there is a specific bin in the store with you that when you are removing and taking off disposable single-use products, you put it in that bin and then you continue on with your day. So I think I think people here still do flush, but there's very much fewer incidences of people here flushing these down the toilet or down the bathroom because we have an available option in the store with us. Also with organic tampons, they tend to be up to 47% more expensive, which can contribute to period and menstrual poverty and relates the access to healthier products to only the wealthy. While a very popular thing with just reusable product advocates is that these products contain dioxin, which is a byproduct of the chemical chlorine gas used to bleach these products. But in recent years, the process for making these types of things have changed. Essentially, in addition to all of these, purification methods have recently, over the last 10 years, changed, and now there is literally an undetectable amount of dioxins discoverable in these types of pads. So the reason I'm saying this is, even though I'm a reusable product user, I do not want anybody to actually come over to menstrual cups and menstrual cloth pads with a wrong idea and with the bad idea. And I think the language and the information that we use, give and find is important, because if you are looking at this, I don't want you to start using cups and cloth pads because you're terrified. I want you to start using them because you want to be more environmentally friendly, you want to be nicer to your body, and you don't want to support products that contribute up to 200 kilos of waste per female per lifetime to the environment. I know that organic tampons are also promoted as you can put them into compost, but if you are putting them in the bin or flushing them down the toilet and they are going to either landfill or through a sewage treatment plant, there is no difference to the waste contribution than if you use these. Conventional tampons are also alleged to contain glyphosate, which is a weed killer. And while this is not actually associated with TSS, and it's actually removed in the production process. So just like I mentioned before, that pads have dioxin is now undetectable in pads. There is no detection of glyphosate in weed killers, so that would apply to these ones which don't use organic cotton. For organic companies who do use organic cotton, they wouldn't have this type of weed killer in use. And on top of that, you eat up to 4 micrograms or 0.04 micrograms a day in your food from glyphosate, and there's actually nothing apparent in your tampons or pads. In addition, tampons have been used historically for many years, for centuries. Even the oldest written reference is Egyptian, which is from about 5,000 years ago, I think. And they were Egyptian women apparently used soft papyrus tampons. Romans used wood and wool tampons. Japanese have used paper and bandages, and were known to change up to 12 times a day with these options. Hawaii has traditionally used the furry part of a native fern. I'm going to pronounce this wrong and I apologise. Hapua. And there is other evidence of native plant, moss and grass use from around the world. So modern tampons came into use in about 1933 when Gertrude Schultz Tenderich started the manufacture and sale of them with a patented product under the Tampax brand. She hired women to manufacture and hired sales associates to market and promote this product, as well as hiring nurses to give public lectures. So, while TSS is definitely a risk and definitely something to be concerned about, you have the power to actually prevent that usage by, maintaining hygiene standards, washing your hands with soap before and after you put a tampon in, changing regularly enough every 3 to 4 hours depending on your cycle. When I used disposable single-use products, I would change every 2 hours because I had quite a heavy flow. However, you may be able to leave it a bit longer depending on your flow, so using the appropriate products, using basic hygiene standards, throwing them out into appropriate waste disposal rather than flushing them down the toilet, you have the power to essentially prevent TSS, being how exceptionally rare it is. So if you, that's basically kind of covering off a bit of TSS and use with tampons and other internal products. If you have any further questions, ask me below, and all the usual suspects. Other than that, enjoy the rest of your day. I hope this helped you out and gave you a bit more context. I will be, for TSS, I will be linking 2 other videos down below, one from First Store on your left, and one from Amy Nix, and both of them discuss TSS as well, and discuss essentially the reusable cloth pad community from stopping, being hysterical about this. We need to be honest and have an open discussion about it without actually promoting lies and untruths, because at the end of the day, these are actually associated with tampons. We don't need to lie about it. Anyway, outside of that, enjoy the rest of your day. Hi, the one thing I didn't do, which I'll do now, is just run through the warnings that are on tampons for you to see. So this one has this message. Liberasim regular tampons of approximately 11% absorbency, suitable for medium flow, material elemental chlorine-free bleached rayon, which is derived from a natural plant materials, which is true, it's derived from wood, and it is polypropylene and polyester cover with polyester and cotton string. The important notice here is tampon use has been associated with toxic shock syndrome, TSS. TSS is a rare but serious disease that may cause death. Read and keep the enclosed information. Made in Australia by Aslaco Care Australia in Westall Road, Springvale. So this is this one here was for the applicator tampons, which are these ones, also by Libra. This has the same start, 2 Libra applicator regular tampons of approximately 11 grams absorbency, and it then says tampon use has been associated with toxic shock syndrome. TSS is a rare but serious disease. These are made in Israel for Aslaco Care. The actual this is the little booklet that comes with these 2 regular tampons. Okay, and then it runs through the Libra options that you have. It runs through inserting. It has a picture for that and instructions. It has removal instructions, and then it has what we came here to talk about, which is the toxic shock syndrome warning. So in case you can't read it on the screen, it says toxic shock syndrome, or TSS, is a rare but serious illness that may cause death. It is caused by a toxin, a kind of biological poison which is produced by a type of bacteria called Staphylococcus aureus. These bacteria are found in the nose of about 1/3 of the population. They may also be found on the skin and occasionally in the vagina without causing harm, which is true. TSS can occur in both males and females of any age, but is more common in young women who use tampons during their period. Also true. Okay. So even here, tampons are not sterile, and neither are your hands or vagina. Tampons, while containing very small amounts of bacteria normally present in the air, have not been shown to carry the bacteria which cause TSS. The symptoms of TSS. The early symptoms of TSS may begin suddenly and are similar to the flu. Early recognitions of these symptoms are important. Symptoms include feeling very ill, headache, muscular pains, high fever and chills of 39 degrees or higher, vomiting, diarrhea or both, fainting, dizziness, weakness or confusion, and a sunburn-like rash. If during your period or shortly after you have any of these symptoms, please remove your tampon and see a doctor immediately. Also vitally important for you guys to know. Remember, it is very important to tell the doctor that you have been using tampons, including the brand and absorbency. If you've had TSS, there's a chance it could return, so make sure that you see your doctor before using tampons again. How does TSS occur? If the toxin is produced in the vagina or a wound and is absorbed there in the bloodstream, a person who is not resistant to the toxin may become ill. Most people develop a resistance to the toxin, which is why the illness is so rare. In those people, there is no harmful effect. Tampons do not carry the bacteria which cause TSS. However, tampon use has been associated with an increased risk of TSS. Although TSS can occur with any tampons of any absorbency, the risk increases with tampons of higher absorbency. Reduce the risk of TSS by using the lowest absorbency tampon to suit your flow. Use only one tampon at a time. Always wash your hands before unwrapping and inserting a tampon, and then again afterwards. Unwrap a fresh, clean tampon just before use. Do not handle it more than necessary or place it on any surface. Do not insert a tampon if it hurts to do so. Only use a tampon when you are menstruating. tampons that should be changed regularly and never left longer than 8 hours, and really never left longer than 4 hours. Overnight, it is best to use, obviously, Libra Goodnight's pads, because this is a Libra thing, so it's actually promoting their own goods rather than a tampon. Ask a doctor if it is okay to use a tampon if you have recently given birth, had a C-section, a miscarriage, abortion, or any operation to your reproductive system. So it also gives you more information on where to find toxic, more information on TSS, and then refers you to their website. So, vital information. This is the booklet from the applicator tampons here. Okay, it again goes over how to insert and use these tampons with instructions, and how to remove the tampon. It then goes over the TSS symptoms again in this handy little booklet, but is essentially the same information that was in that little booklet that we read, just produced in a bigger booklet. So that's all the information. Okay, so then we have the U by Kotex. Oops, dropped it. U by Kotex, which were, if you recall, these ones. Okay. So again, it has instructions on this side of the, and then on this side we have TSS information, and it seems like a pretty standard information that was essentially the same as in these Libra tampon packages as well. And they also refer you to seek medical attention and speak to your doctor about tampon use. So anyway, this is what both of them had in there. This is what both of them said. I hope this assisted you in kind of knowing more information about TSS and kind of decisions to make. Really, the best thing that can be said is that maintain adequate hygiene. If you cannot maintain adequate hygiene, use external protection. Outside of that, I obviously use cloth pads, as you've seen with my channel, and menstrual cups. So that's how I reduce the impact of getting or thinking about TSS, so or requiring TSS. So you'll need to make the most responsible decision for yourself. Outside of that, thank you. See you again soon.